In a courtroom where justice seems lost, a brave teenager dares to challenge the system. With her freedom on the line, can she outsmart the judge and prove her innocence? Atlanta, Georgia. Fulton County Courthouse. A bustling courtroom filled with defendants, lawyers, and spectators. Judge Reginald P. Jenkins, a middle-aged man with a stern expression, presides over the court. He's known for his tough stance on crime, but his demeanor often borders on condescending. A 17-year-old black teenager, Nia Renee Jackson, stands confidently before the judge, dressed in worn jeans and a faded t-shirt. Her hair is pulled back into a ponytail, revealing a determined look on her face. She's been in and out of foster care for years, but she's never lost her spark. Judge Jenkins raises an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "So, you're the one who's been causing all the commotion?" he asks, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Nia nods, her eyes locked on the judge. "Yes, Your Honor. I'm here to represent myself in a case against the state." The judge smirks. "Oh, really? Well, well, well. Look what we have here. A young, poor black girl from the wrong side of the tracks, thinking she can take on the system." The courtroom falls silent, with all eyes on Nia. She stands tall, unfazed by the judge's condescending tone. She's used to being underestimated, but she knows her worth. Judge Jenkins leans back in his chair, steepling his fingers. "Tell me, Miss Jackson, what makes you think you're qualified to represent yourself in a court of law?" Nia takes a deep breath, her voice steady. "I've been studying law for years, Your Honor. I've read every book, every case study, every precedent. I know the law inside and out." The judge raises an eyebrow. "Is that so? Well, I'm impressed, but being book smart doesn't necessarily mean you're ready for the courtroom." Nia smiles, a hint of mischief in her eyes. "I've also been watching you, Judge Jenkins. I've studied your cases, your rulings, your demeanor, and I think I can take you on." The courtroom erupts into a flurry of whispers and murmurs, with all eyes fixed on Nia. Judge Jenkins' expression changes from amusement to annoyance. Suddenly, a middle-aged woman, dressed in a crisp business suit, bursts into the courtroom. "Your Honor, I apologize for the interruption." Judge Jenkins scowls. "Can't you see we're in the middle of a hearing?" The woman approaches Nia, a hint of a smile on her face. "I'm here to represent Miss Jackson." The judge's expression changes from annoyance to confusion. "I wasn't aware that Miss Jackson had counsel." The woman smiles sweetly. "Oh, but she does, Your Honor, and I assure you we're going to make this a very interesting case." The courtroom erupts into a flurry of whispers and murmurs with all eyes fixed on Nia and her mysterious lawyer, Alexis Thompson. Judge Jenkins bangs his gavel, calling the courtroom to order. "All right, let's get down to business. Miss Jackson, you're accusing the state of—" Nia stands tall, her voice clear. "I'm accusing the state of violating my civil rights, Your Honor. I'm accusing them of racial profiling, of harassment, and of denying me my right to a fair trial." The courtroom falls silent, with all eyes on Nia. Judge Jenkins' expression changes from annoyance to surprise. Alexis Thompson steps forward, a confident smile on her face. "Your Honor, we have evidence that will prove Miss Jackson's claims. We have witnesses, we have documents, and we have video footage." Judge Jenkins raises an eyebrow. "I'm intrigued. Let's hear it." The courtroom erupts into a flurry of activity, with lawyers and spectators scrambling to get a closer look. Nia stands tall, a determined look on her face. She's ready to take on the system, and she's not going to back down. Judge Jenkins nods, his expression serious. "Very well, Miss Thompson. Let's hear your evidence." Alexis Thompson smiles, a confident glint in her eye. "Thank you, Your Honor. Our first witness is Officer Johnson, the police officer who arrested Miss Jackson." Officer Johnson, a middle-aged man with a stern expression, takes the stand. Alexis Thompson begins to question him, her voice firm but polite. "Officer Johnson, can you tell the court why you arrested Miss Jackson?" Alexis asks. Officer Johnson shifts uncomfortably in his seat. "Well, I received a call about a suspicious person in the area. When I arrived, I saw Miss Jackson walking down the street. She matched the description of the suspicious person, so I arrested her." Alexis Thompson raises an eyebrow. "And what was the description of the suspicious person?" Officer Johnson hesitates, clearly uncomfortable. Well, the caller described a black female, approximately 5 feet 8 inches with a ponytail." Alexis Thompson nods, a hint of a smile on her face. "And did you find any evidence on Miss Jackson that linked her to any crime?" Officer Johnson shakes his head. "No, ma'am." The courtroom falls silent, with all eyes on Officer Johnson. Judge Jenkins' expression changes from serious to surprised. Alexis Thompson nods, a confident smile on her face. "Thank you, Officer Johnson. Your testimony has been very enlightening." Nia stands tall, a determined look on her face. She's one step closer to proving her case. Judge Jenkins bangs his gavel, calling the courtroom to order. "Very well, Miss Thompson. You've made your point, but the state has a right to defend itself. Mr. Prosecutor, please proceed." The prosecutor, a middle-aged man with a smug expression, stands up. "Thank you, Your Honor. The state will prove that Miss Jackson was indeed a threat to public safety, and that Officer Johnson's actions were justified." Nia's eyes narrow, her jaw clenched in determination. She's ready to take on the prosecutor, and she's not going to back down. The courtroom erupts into a flurry of activity, with lawyers and spectators scrambling to get a closer look. The battle between Nia and the state is far from over. The prosecutor, Mr. Smith, begins to question Nia, trying to poke holes in her story. But Nia is prepared, and she answers each question confidently and clearly. Mr. Smith scowls, clearly frustrated. "So, Miss Jackson, you're saying that Officer Johnson had no reason to arrest you?" Nia nods. "That's right. I was just walking down the street, minding my own business." "I wasn't doing anything wrong," Mr. Smith sneers. "And you expect us to believe that?" Nia stands tall, her eyes flashing with anger. "I don't expect you to believe anything, Mr. Smith. I'm just telling the truth." The courtroom falls silent, with all eyes on Nia. Judge Jenkins' expression changes from skeptical to thoughtful. Finally, Judge Jenkins bangs his gavel, calling the courtroom to order. "I've heard enough," he says. "Miss Jackson, it's clear that you've been wrongly accused. I'm dismissing all charges against you." The courtroom erupts into cheers and applause, with Nia's friends and family rushing to congratulate her. Nia smiles, tears of joy streaming down her face. Alexis Thompson hugs Nia tightly. "I'm so proud of you, Nia," she says. "You stood up for yourself, and you won." Nia smiles, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Alexis," she says. "I couldn't have done it without you." As they leave the courtroom, Nia turns to Alexis with a mischievous glint in her eye. "You know, Alexis," she says, "I think I'm going to be a lawyer when I grow up." Alexis Thompson smiles, her eyes shining with pride. "I have no doubt that you will, Nia," she says. "You're already a natural." The camera zooms out as Nia and Alexis walk out of the courtroom, arm in arm, ready to take on the world.